Hey, what's up you guys? It's Aria. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, and welcome to my new apartment. I just moved in here about a week ago with two of my best friends. Yeah, so I have been living here for about a week and I like my room, but it is definitely not where I want it to be yet. It's pretty small, which is honestly fine because that means that I don't have to spend as much money because there's just not that much space for me to buy shit. But here is what it's looking like right now. I have my bed pretty much set up the way that I like it. It's kind of a mess right now because I just don't really have like an organization system like set up yet. Like all my makeup and stuff is just kind of on my desk. I do have a tub of decorations from my old bedroom just sitting under my bed right now because I just don't even know where to start. But that's a problem for me to deal with later in this video. But yeah, my room is kind of small, but it's honestly totally fine. We're gonna be doing a few things to make it feel bigger. I also just want it to feel a little bit lighter and a little bit more like me. Our apartment did come partially furnished. All of our furniture is kind of random and doesn't really match, but the furniture in my bedroom is all dark wood and silver, which I don't think it looks bad. It's just not really my taste. So we're gonna be doing some things to just make it feel very open and airy and like so the very first thing that we are going to be doing is going to Home Depot because in my last bedroom makeover, I had all fake plants and a lot of you guys roasted me for that. So I'm going to be getting some real plants. We are also going to be going to Goodwill. Hopefully if I'm putting this like sentence in, that means that I actually found something there. And as always with my longer videos, I will have this video split up into chapters in the description in case you want to like skip around. Yeah, so with that, let's just get into this video. Ooh, that was a fun transition. Oh my god.
She said, how could you joke at a time like this? I know why, 'cause this is what you wanted all along now, isn't it? I think that all you really ever wanted was a reason to complain. That never stopped you before, don't let it get in your way.
Okay guys, this is what it's looking like. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad I have this. I put like all my plants right there. So freaking cute. I also put my salt lamp back there. Like, look at that. I have like hidden storage down here. So I did not start this video today thinking that I was gonna move my bed like at all. Like I thought I had the furniture exactly where I wanted it, but this actually works so much more.
There's no saying they just fall from the sky.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Okay, the next thing we're gonna be doing is using contact paper. I need to make this really fast because my desk is like wobbling as I'm sitting on top of it. So as I said earlier, my apartment did come partially furnished. My bedroom came with a bed frame, a nightstand, and this desk. And all of the furniture is done in dark wood and silver, which isn't necessarily like ugly or anything. It's just not really my taste and not really what I'm going for. So we're going to be covering this with contact paper. So for my desk, I chose to use this butcher's block style contact paper for the dark wood parts and this white contact paper for the metal parts. To start, I rolled out the butcher's block paper across the top of my desk. I cut a decent bit longer than I thought I would actually need to so that at the end I could cut it exactly to size. I lined up the edge of the contact paper with the edge of my desk, but later I really wished I hadn't done this because it kind of ended up leading to some other mistakes like issues with it peeling up. If you're gonna do this, I would suggest that you have it overlap on the edges, if that makes sense. And then as you can see here, I'm just peeling off the backing in small increments rather than all at once so that I could get rid of air bubbles as they came up rather than at the end. To push out the air bubbles, you're supposed to use a squeegee, but I was too cheap to buy one of those, so I used my college ID card since my college is completely online, so it's not like it has any other purpose for me right now. Also, yes, it's really annoying me while I'm editing this how many air bubbles I can see that I somehow didn't see when I was doing this. Sorry about that. When I got to the other edge of my desk, instead of cutting the paper off right at the edge, I overlapped it down the side, which maybe doesn't look the most realistic, but it made my life a lot easier. Here I'm trying to fix these air bubbles that I missed, but I ended up pressing down way too hard with my ID card and I ended up making them look a lot worse. But luckily this ended up being exactly where I put my keyboard when I put everything back on my desk. From here on out, you'll see me using my card wrapped in a t-shirt to try and prevent this from happening again. Seriously guys, if you do this, just buy a squeegee. I think they're literally like $10 or something. The next part was kind of tricky because since I had chosen a block pattern, I had to line up the paper correctly. Otherwise it was gonna look really janky. It still came out looking kind of janky, but it could have been a lot worse. The wood grain did end up being a lot more forgiving than I thought it would, and once everything was back on my desk, it really was not that noticeable. Also, if this little corner piece is bothering you, don't worry, I fixed it later. For the drawer of my desk, I ended up just removing the handle, and originally I was gonna cut 2 little holes and screw it back on, but I actually ended up liking how it looked without the handle, so I just left it without. This awkward outer part of the front of the desk was also pretty difficult to do, but I kind of just cut a piece to length and folded the paper inwards from there. The inside of my desk was probably the most difficult because I literally just could not see what I was doing, and as you could see, I was working from a really weird angle. I didn't do the entire inside of my desk because you can't see it all anyways, so what would be the point? Also, sorry if this is kind of like a weird camera angle. Both my cameras had died at this point, so I ended up just having to use my phone, and then my phone ran out of storage and I was really tired, so I decided to just call it a day. Next, I did the metal parts of my desk. Now, was it the next day when I did this, or was it 2 months later because I kept procrastinating it? I guess you'll never know. Anyways, I covered the metal parts in this white contact paper. I pretty much used exactly the same technique, except it was obviously a much smaller surface area. Overall, my contact paper job definitely did not come out perfect, but I really like the desk a lot better now despite the random air bubbles and little scratches. If you live in a dorm or your apartment comes already furnished like mine did, I would highly recommend using contact paper, but otherwise I would say it's probably not worth the time or money that it takes, and I would just buy a different desk if I could. Hey guys, it's about a week later. So the next thing we're going to be doing is putting up some curtains, which sounds very simple, but there is a catch. This apartment does not let you paint or put holes in the wall, so I cannot nail in a curtain rod into the wall. I can't drill anything into the wall, nothing like that, but I still really want to put up curtains, so I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that if you're in a similar situation. Now you might be a little confused because later in this video, editing Aria here, I thought that I would just explain this really quickly. Basically, when we moved in, we were under the impression that this was similar to like a dorm where you can't nail into the wall, you can't paint, can't leave holes in the wall, stuff like that. I ended up emailing our apartment complex and asking about it, and it turns out that we were wrong. We are allowed to paint and put holes in the wall, so that's why later in this video you'll see me doing both of those things. But just in case you guys are in a situation where you can't put holes in the wall and you still want to put up a curtain rod, I thought I would leave this tutorial in here anyways, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So the main basis for this tutorial are these large command hooks. These are going to be used to hold our curtain rod. Now, you'll notice that they can only hold up to 5 pounds each, which really isn't a lot, so we're going to be using these more heavy-duty Velcro command strips to actually attach the hooks to the wall. Now, you can really choose any curtain rod that you want, but I chose to use this brushed nickel style to match with the style of the hooks. The only thing that really matters is the curtain rod needs to be less than 1 inch in diameter in order to fit into the hooks. I'll of course have all of these materials linked in my description if you guys would like to use the same ones. The first thing I did was mark on the wall where I wanted the hooks to go. Personally, I like to hang my curtains pretty close to the ceiling because it helps the room feel taller, but it's of course up to you. Next, I attached the Velcro command strips to each of the hooks. Then I stuck the hooks to the wall, making sure to really press down so the command strips were secure. You're technically supposed to let this sit for an hour before you hang anything, but I'm way too impatient for that, so I just moved on to the next step. The final step is simply to put your curtains on the rod and hang them from there. I chose these sheer light filtering curtains from Target. I really like that they weren't pure white, but more of a cream, and they provided privacy while still letting in a lot of light. I live on the first floor right next to a road, so I don't like to have my curtains completely open, but I still like to let a lot of light into my room. Like I said, I ended up putting up a real curtain rod later, but I still hope this tutorial was helpful for you guys in case you're not able to do that. So the next thing that we are going to be doing is installing a faux brick wall. I'm so excited. I don't know if you guys watch the queen of YouTube, Ashley, aka Best Dressed. She did a bedroom makeover a couple years ago where she did a faux brick wall. Ever since I saw that video, I have not stopped thinking about doing a faux brick wall. Okay guys, so these are the faux brick wall panels. They actually look so much better in person than I thought they would. So as I said, I want to get my security deposit back, which means we cannot be ripping the paint off the wall. No, no, no. I also didn't want to have to construct the foam panels by myself. So the other option that leaves is essentially stick and peel wallpaper. You can get one that's like a wallpaper, or you can get one that's more of like a foam, like I did, and they make like super like thick. And they make like super thick, nicer ones. Generally, like the more realistic looking ones are more expensive, but I don't really trust that it says that it's temporary, because a lot of times when it says it's like temporary, not going to take the paint off the wall, guess what it does? It takes the paint off the wall. But I also didn't want to have to spend hundreds of dollars on command strips. I ended up finding this tutorial from a blog on Pinterest. So the first thing we're going to need to create this faux brick wall is obviously some brick paneling. I got mine off of Amazon in a pack of 12. I'll have it linked below if you would like to get the same ones. The other materials you're going to need are some masking tape, this heavy duty wall mounting tape, and you're going to want scissors and possibly an X-Acto knife. Now, like I said, we don't want to risk ripping paint off the wall, so we aren't going to be removing this paper backing off the panels at all. Essentially what we're doing is using the masking tape to create a grid for the brick panels to attach to. I really should have bought a more contrasting color for this masking tape so you guys could actually see this better, but just bear with me. Basically, this masking tape grid will cover our wall, and then we're going to attach pieces of the heavy duty wall mounting tape to the grid. It's very, very important that this wall mounting tape doesn't touch the wall itself, because it will definitely rip the paint off. The mounting tape is only going to be touching the masking tape. Then the foam brick panels will attach to the wall from there. Again, like I said, the foam brick panels are simply going to be touching the wall mounting tape, which is only touching the grid, not the wall itself, so we aren't going to be risking ripping off any paint. I really hope that made sense. Now, the other catch is that these foam brick panels kind of just awkwardly cut off the pattern on each piece. So if we were to leave the panel as is, they would line up really weirdly and, in my opinion, make it very obviously fake. So the solution is to cut out the bricks along the edges of the panels so we can sort of jigsaw them together from there. It's also really important to pay attention here to this molding between the bricks. Make sure to note whether you're cutting out the molding on a piece or leaving it in, otherwise you could have some gaps. Now, my original plan was to create the entire masking tape grid, then attach the tape, and then attach the panels, but I honestly just got really bored of making the grid, so I decided to attach the panels as I went. I did use a few command strips in key places like where two pieces of foam board met. This process took me quite a long time, and I did go slightly insane. Oh, fuck. Hey, what's up, guys? Aria. Today, we're gonna be not doing our assignments.
Why would we?
I have one due tomorrow. Why would we do that when I could decide to start on a brick wall?
You got a little bit of space left over here, too, so.
Just a little bit. Bro, how the fuck am I gonna deal with this?
Whoopsies.
You can even see it.
What a hook.
At midnight, I had a giant mess on my bed and assignments that I still hadn't done, so I decided to call it a night and finish it the next day. This part right here is why I would recommend saving the bricks that you cut out. Now, I know this edge is not looking great, but once the curtains were back up, I promise it really didn't look that bad. So originally I wanted to cover my entire wall, even the part of the bed that covers the wall, just for good measure, but I did end up running out of brick, even though I measured very carefully. I think it's just from cutting out bricks along the edge pieces. This is why if you can get more brick than you actually think you're going to need, I would recommend doing that. Now, if we're being honest, after installing the faux brick wall, I really didn't work on my room for a while because school got pretty busy, but I did add a few small things. One thing I did was install this pendant light. The first thing I did was drill a small hole into my ceiling, and then I screwed in this swag hook. You can get them from Lowe's for like $3. I'm using this swag light kit from Amazon to create my pendant light. I really like the hemp style cord rather than a plastic one, but it really doesn't matter. The key is you just want a cord that plugs into the wall unless your room already comes with like an overhead light fixture. I chose to use this macrame pendant shade from Amazon and this vintage Edison style bulb. Since the macrame doesn't really shield your eyes from the bulb, I didn't want to use anything that was too bright. If you have a Pinterest account, you have probably seen these gold antique mirrors from Anthropologie, and you've probably also seen the outrageous price. After doing some research, I decided to DIY one of these mirrors. I first started with this mirror that I got from HomeGoods for $60, but really any mirror works for this. If you want it to look even closer to the Anthropologie ones, try to find a mirror with rounded edges. The next thing you're gonna need are some of these wooden appliques. I'm so sorry. I have no idea how you say that, but I'll put it up on the screen. To attach these to the mirror, I'm just going to be using this hot glue gun from Michaels that was literally $4, but it actually works surprisingly well. First thing I did was just mess with the placement of these little wooden appliques. Again, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to say that. After I was satisfied with where I'd placed them, I just glued them down and I let them sit for a few hours to make sure everything was dry. Then I covered the mirror with some newspaper and spray painted it gold, and I'm actually so happy with how this turned out. Another super quick DIY I did was just take these clear vases that I got from Goodwill and spray paint them with a matte cream color to give them kind of more of a ceramic look. Again, this is super easy to do. A lot of Goodwills carry a bunch of these vases, and if you just spray paint them, you can kind of give that ceramic look that's really in right now, but is also kind of expensive. I cannot stress how much of a bad idea this is for me to do this right now. Hi guys, I don't know what part of the video this is at, but it is currently 8:35 p.m. on Halloween and I am home alone in my apartment. I'm just vibing and I thought, you know what, it's time. I'm gonna paint my closet door. Now here's the thing, I'm stupid and I didn't get a drop cloth when I impulsively decided to go to Home Depot and get paint because I live like 30 minutes from Home Depot. I didn't want to have to drive back to get a drop cloth, so I just drove 5 minutes to Kroger and I have these shitty ass plastic tablecloths. I'm also going to have a towel that I'm sacrificing underneath it. So as you can see, we have this lovely white wall. And then it's just this gray fucking door, and it's not even like painted well. Like you can see like all around the sides, they just like, I mean, they were clearly in a rush, which is like fine. I feel like it would just look better if it was the same color, so I'm gonna do that and we're gonna hope it goes okay. Usually to match a paint color, you just get a 1x1 inch sample and you bring it to Home Depot and they have a machine that will match the color for you. However, I could not for the life of me get a big enough paint sample off of my wall. It just kept flaking off in tiny little pieces. So I ended up taking a tiny little piece to Home Depot and I literally held it up to paint samples myself and I was actually able to get a pretty good match. Oh, this is happening. Oh shit. So there's not really much to say here. I'm literally just painting a door white. I put on some music. I was jamming out. It was a good time. So this is how the door ended up coming out. I honestly think I did a really good job matching the paint and I think it looks way better. The paint job isn't amazing, but to be fair to myself, the paint job underneath was certainly not amazing either. Also, if you're wondering, my plastic tablecloth method ended up working just fine and it didn't even soak through onto my towel, so yay. Another impulsive painting decision I made was to paint my headboard. If you guys didn't see the earlier part of the video, I thrifted this headboard for $10, so I wasn't really too concerned with damaging it because it wasn't particularly expensive anyways. Now the headboard wasn't in bad shape, but the wood was not looking too great in some spots. Plus it was election day and I was feeling incredibly stressed out, so I made the impulsive decision to paint this a nice sage green color. I did wipe down the headboard first and I tried to fill in some of these holes with this wood filler, which only kind of worked. Now this time I actually was somewhat prepared and I bought a drop cloth, but the paint actually ended up soaking onto my floor in some parts. Luckily I was fast enough and I was able to get it off of my floor, but I wish I had just used those same plastic tablecloths that I used before. So for my final step in this room makeover, I decided I was going to make some floating shelves. This didn't really go as planned, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So the first thing I did was go to Home Depot and have them cut some 2x6 wood down to the size that I needed. The plan was to have two 30-inch floating shelves above my desk. I also bought this maple wood stain, polyurethane coating, and some sandpaper to smooth out the wood before I stained it. I laid out this blue tarp across my floor so that way I wouldn't damage it. I sanded down my wood pieces. Then I did a few coats of the stain using this rag. I let this dry for about 12 hours before finishing them with this polyurethane coating, and then I let that dry for another 24 hours. Now, given that I have absolutely no experience doing anything like this, I did consult my roommate Kevin to help me. The first thing we did was measure where exactly on the wood pieces we wanted the brackets to go. Then we drilled our pilot holes and attached our brackets from there. These are just some generic L brackets that you can get from any hardware store. You can also get more decorative brackets to do this, or you can even spray paint them. Next, we marked on the wall where we wanted our shelves to go, and then we started drilling in the drywall anchors. This is unfortunately where things started to go wrong.
Very strange.
Is it like not going in?
It's not going in. That could be because maybe there is a beam there. Holy shit. Oh my god.
Did it break in there?
Yeah. It must be like a beam or something. I don't know what's in there.
Little change of plans. We appear to have hit a beam in the wall. Half the drywall anchor is stuck in the wall. We're just gonna like fill it when we move out and hope they don't notice. So we're just gonna be putting up the little tiny shelf. This one. We're just gonna be putting this up. So I probably could have just bought a little tiny shelf instead of buying wood at Home Depot and staining it, but it's okay.
Kind of Ivy. Look at that. What do you think?
Welcome to my completed room. Yeah, let me show you around. So when you first walk in, this is what you see. So I thought we could start with this little mirror setup that I have going on right here. I am actually super happy with how this mirror turned out. There are parts of it where you can see like the hot glue and stuff, but that's totally okay. And then down on the floor, I have this Monstera plant. She doesn't have a name yet. I got her at a store about an hour away from me, so she went down the highway. I almost crashed my car to keep her from tipping over, but you know what? It was completely worth it because she's absolutely gorgeous. And then down on the floor that I am crouching down on right now, I have this white shag rug, which I have not had for very long, but I am already regretting it because it just gets dirty so quickly. Moving right along this way, we have my desk set up, which I am pretty happy with how it turned out too. I mean, obviously it's my room. I like how everything turned out. Right now, I don't have too much going on. I'm sure this kind of goes for everything in my room. I'm sure I'm going to add more stuff over time. I haven't been living here for very long. It's only been a few months and I have at least another year and a half here, so I'm sure I'm going to add more. But for now, this is what my desk setup is looking like. I am really glad I chose to do this like light wood color. I think it looks a lot better and it matches the vibe of my room a lot more. On my desk, I just have a desk lamp. It's this little, like, the base is like this squirrel. I think it's really cool. I also, of course, have a plant on my desk. This one is a philodendron hybrid. I have my little iMac set up, and then I have this little like thingy for like my pencils and pens and stuff, and it has this little drawer on it. It's quite useful. And then I have a candle burning right now. Now, a lot of you on my last room makeover, so many of you were so upset about the fact that I wasn't allowed to light candles at my parents' house, and that was simply because my mom is just really paranoid about house fires, so she just like would prefer if I didn't, which I was fine with. Now that I live in my own apartment with my own roommates, I can light candles as much as I want to, and you'll be happy to know that I light a candle almost every single day. Moving up on the wall, I have this framed poster. Frame is from Goodwill. You guys know I love to get my frames at Goodwill because picture frames are one of those things that just like shouldn't be that expensive, but they are. And then I also have this little floating shelf that my roommate helped me put up. I was originally going to do 2 bigger shelves, but if you saw that part of the video, you know that that did not end up working out. On my shelf, I just have some fake plants and a little mirror. And then like the hipster person that I am, I have like some paint samples up on the wall. I've seen people do this as decorations before. I don't know, comment down below and tell me if you think it looks stupid, because I honestly can't decide, but I needed to put something right there. And then hanging right here, I also have a fake plant. My desk chair, as you saw earlier, is really ugly, so I covered it up with a blanket and a pillow because my ass started hurting a lot sitting at my desk all day. Also on my desk, I have this little plant that I got recently. I got it at a farmer's market, and I have it in this nice terracotta pot, except the pot, the water's like soaking through it. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah, overall, I really like my desk space. I think it turned out very nicely. It's a very productive environment for me. Moving right along this way, I have Victor. He is a Majesty palm. He is doing pretty well for a plant that I literally just forget to water all the time. I don't know how I forget about it because it takes up like an entire corner of my room. And then this way, we just have my closet door. Again, I'm not going to show you what's in my closet because it's really messy. I am so happy with my decision to paint it white though. If you guys didn't see that part of the video, this was originally gray and it just really stuck out along this wall and I just did not like how it looked, so I painted it white. And then behind me, I have this mirror. Obviously in small rooms it's very good to have lots of mirrors because it definitely opens up the space, makes it feel a lot bigger. It is like directly facing my bed, so it's a little bit disconcerting every single day to wake up and then sit up in bed and then have the first thing that I see be my own reflection, but you know what, it's totally okay. On the ground that I'm sitting on right now, I have this little like Persian style rug. Yeah, I just want a nice little rug here to kind of section off the area, give it something more. And then above me we have this gorgeous pendant light that I put up. I'm also really happy with how this turned out. Again, I used an Edison bulb because since this isn't really a lampshade, it's more just like macrame, it would be kind of a lot to just be looking at like a super bright bulb. And then I have this shelf that is also from my house. My mom is currently in the process of redoing our downstairs, so she brought this up for me when she came to visit because I really just wanted somewhere else to put plants. So on my first shelf, I have this pothos plant. She is doing, again, pretty well for somebody that I forget to water. These are definitely the easiest plants to take care of. So if you guys are like me and you're maybe not the best at taking care of yourself, much less plants, I would highly recommend pothos, or is it pothos? I always forget which one it is. And then right next to it, I have this little brown bag with this brass detailing. Then down below, we have another pothos plant. She has gotten quite long and she's trailing. I kind of just shoved it in this little like basket thing because I haven't been able to find a pot that would fit this properly. So it's still in the nursery pot and then I just kind of like shoved it in this basket thing, but she is doing well. Right next to it, I just have this little like fake set of flowers. Not anything really too exciting there. And then on the shelf below it, I have this little like wicker basket thing that I believe is from Home Goods. And then right next to it, I just have my jewelry box with like some jewelry that I don't wear as often. And then going through this whole shelf, I have these little like starlights. On the bottom shelf, it's really not that cute. I just have this other like wicker basket that's holding my camera equipment and my microphone. Moving right along, we have the wall behind me, which is my gorgeous brick wall. There are parts of it that are falling down a little bit, but I still think it looks pretty good. I also have this nice big window, which is southwest facing, if you were wondering, which means it gets a decent amount of light, which I was pretty excited about. I have these gorgeous sheer curtains right here. I live on the first floor and people often walk past my window, so I don't like to have my curtains open because I don't want people looking in at me, but I still like to let a lot of light into my room, so I like that these are incredibly sheer. They kind of just barely filter the light, like it still feels very bright in my room, which I like. Hanging up on the ceiling right there, I just have another fake plant and one of those little macrame hangers, and then I had like some vines and stuff that I trailed through the curtain rod. I also hung up these bigger starlights to hang through the curtain rod. You can't really see them right now because it's daylight out and the window is literally right there, so it's very bright, but I will insert some clips of my room at night because it's honestly honestly kind of a vibe. All right, guys, and then I saved my favorite part for last, which is my bed with this lovely headboard behind me. As I said, I have a pretty small room. I'm sure there will be people who comment and tell me how their room is smaller, which is totally fine. My room is definitely on the smaller side. There's not really a lot of like walking space. Most of my room is just bed. So I really wanted it to be like super cozy and look really nice since it takes up the majority of my room. So starting with the actual bed, this is my first time having white bedding, which similar to the white shag rug, I like it in theory, but in practice, it's been interesting. But overall, I really like having white bedding. I feel like it like livens up the room and makes it feel a lot brighter. Then for my pillows, I have just the two white ones that came with the bedding. The bedding is from Amazon, I believe. And then my two like kind of beige colored ones are from Bed Bath & Beyond. And then the two velvet ones are from World Market. They were only like $10 each. I would highly recommend World Market for pillows. I don't know if you'd call it Sherpa. I don't know what it's called. But I have this really nice big blanket on my bed because I get very, very cold. Before we get into my actual headboard, we can just talk about what's above it, which is this little like LED moonlight. I wanted to keep above my bed pretty simple since my headboard has so much on it. So then moving on to my actual headboard, I still cannot believe that I managed to thrift this after spending hours looking for one online. I am very happy with my decision to paint it green. At first I didn't like it, but I actually think it really ties in with the rest of my room very well. On my headboard, there is quite a lot. Starting on this side of my headboard, I have my salt lamp, which lets off this very nice orange pink glow, which I think looks really nice, especially against the brick wall. And then right next to it, I have a fake plant. My headboard, I would say, is a pretty even mix between fake and real plants. Also along my headboard, I have a couple mirrors. Any of these little small mirrors that you see around my room, they are from Dollar Tree. Again, I got those in my last room makeover. I also have this little like ceramic looking box. I'm so bad at describing things. This little box is from Dollar Tree and I use it for my most worn jewelry. Before I go to sleep at night, I can just slip it in there. It's really nice. This little like pot thing with the face on it is also from Dollar Tree. What I really like about this headboard is all the storage that it has. Okay, you guys, that is it for this video. This literally took me like 3 months to make, so please comment down below and tell me if you liked it and also make sure to give it a thumbs up. I am super happy with how my room turned out. Of course, my old room will always hold a special place in my heart, but I am super happy with how this turned out. I really feel like it's my style. I feel like it's a good amount of decorations while not being like too overwhelming. Even though the room is on the smaller side, it's honestly very functional. I, of course, love all of my plants. I'm getting so much better at taking care of them. You guys should be proud of me because I only killed one that I bought. In, of course, true Aria fashion, I finished this room 2 days before I am leaving to go home for a month. I'm not like moving out or anything. I'm just going home for Thanksgiving and winter break, but I have another 1.5 years at least that I'm living here, and then I'm probably gonna live here my senior year too, so probably more like 2.5 years. Anyways, yeah, I feel like I've been talking for such a long time and I am just really hyped up on coffee right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I seriously appreciate you guys so much and thank you for supporting me. I will see you in my next video. Bye. I have been living, oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my god. Fuck you, my heart literally stopped. I thought that was like a random person. I didn't realize it was you at first and I was like, who the fuck is at my window? Oh, the mic picks up everything, believe me.
I think you can pick that up with your own ears.
I think I can pick that up, yeah.
It sucks. I don't know if you can do that.
Have fun editing. Fuck, 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 fuck.
Fuck, fuck, fuck. I don't edit out swear words, so like.
Oh.
Oh, hey. Didn't see that. What?
I looked at the camera and I looked at the angle of the camera.
Where are my scissors? Oh my god, he's a vlogger.
I am a vlogger.
Just toss it. Okay.
Alright, so there, now you have to grab it at the right time, okay?
Bloopers. Or it'll just all be included.
No bloopers if you're dead. I'm just kidding. Alright, awesome.